Alright, and 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Beyond Good and Evil. This game came out in 2003, as you can tell by the time capsule. It came out for the PlayStation 2, GameCube. I'm not sure if it came out for the PC.
This peaceful mining planet in System 4 is now
the Xbox, and then
Supreme Commander of the Alpha Forces would like to
the music in this game is absolutely gorgeous. The story is awesome, but we're not going to see a ton of it. We're going to be skipping quite a bit of the game here. It was made by Ubisoft Montreal, and about 2 years ago we actually got an announcement for a sequel to come out, or more or less a prequel. Do we lose your voice? Oh, no, you're still there.
No, I'm sorry. I just didn't have anything to say about it. And then I'll definitely we can talk about the story, I guess.
Go tell Paige.
So right here at the very beginning, as you can see, Jade is sitting there with an orphan. She's on this lighthouse where she houses orphans, a bunch of different orphans, and protects them. And the green that's coming from the sky means that there's a bunch of DOMs coming for them, and she's trying to protect it with the shield, but they're about 350 units short, so she wants all the kids to run to the house, but unfortunately they start falling on the ground, and they actually get captured by one of these DOM sarcophagi, as they're called in the game. And with that battle, this battling system that we're going to be using throughout almost the entire game, and that's to attack, take a break, then attack again. This is the fastest move that we're going to get. So we're going to be doing that, and also getting one of the best songs in the entire fight, which is Dancing with the Dogs. So here we go with her bow staff. We're going to run up, attack, wait, attack. Attack, wait, attack. If you wait too long to do that attack, she'll actually do a slower attack and she'll restart her second attack. Now, since we're in the slow motion right here, we're going to be doing the same attack, but you have to wait longer than it seems like you have to. And that was a perfect beginning fight right there. That's really good. So then after that, where that sarcophagi fell and it trapped all of the orphans, there's going to be a tentacle that comes out of the ground and it's going to drag Jade underneath the ground. And this is where we're going to meet basically our main villain of the entire game.
So these DOMS creatures are like this kind of infectious plague, and they are attacking all I believe human and other civilizations alike. And this planet is one of the forefronts of the war that these DOMS creatures are having on society.
And right here is Paige. Paige is Jade's uncle, and he comes in and he gives us our bow. And using the bow, this will actually allow us to use a new attack, which is this power attack that we're going to be doing. This is actually one of the easiest fights in the game. You're just going to do your power attack, then attack him. Power attack, attack. Power attack, attack, and the fight should be over. And normally we're doing that in your casual playthrough. You think that you have to constantly be attacking him, but it's actually just slowing down the time that it takes to actually destroy him. It's just a matter of how many times you hit him compared to how many times, like a distance or something like that.
Yeah,
get
it's
hit
more
points.
sort of phases that you have to go through to beat him, rather than actual health that he has. And we'll be collecting this pearl here, which is a valuable resource that we use to unlock various upgrades throughout the game. Though we won't be getting many of those upgrades, only 2 of them, actually. The majority of them will be skipped, and these pearls are gathered through various means throughout the game, by doing side quests, sort mini games, etc.
And in total, we need to collect 31 of them. One of them we're going to be using right at the very beginning of the game. The other ones we're going to be saving up and only using to buy one other item. Alright, so then we go right from one cutscene into another cutscene where the alpha sections come down and they're like, it's all cleared out, you can come on up because it's safe. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna roll forward here and then get right into it. And then go right into another cutscene. Now,
Here on HILLYS, war has once again reared its ugly head.
Oh, okay. So these alpha sections are these people, they're like a police force or army that protect the Hylian people, or at least so they're stating. But actually, Paige will interrupt in a moment and say that these guys keep doing nothing. And they are always late to the party, and say they saved everybody, but they really...
what I'd call as fast as a speeding bullet.
And this speed run is about 3/4 cutscene, and the other 2/4 of it is gameplay. But the beginning seems like it has a lot of cutscenes, but near the end there's quite a few more. So now that
if it wasn't for you,
so now that Jade was captured by those Doms there, something happened to her, and it makes her collapse. So when Jade wakes up, she wakes up inside of the lighthouse where she's basically living.
Jade, how are you feeling, darling?
I'm fine, Paige. I'm fine. Still no power?
Nope.
So now that the shield is down, and all these Vorax that are flying around can just come and go as they please. And then we introduce, I think this is this your favorite character, Voiceless?
Secundo.
One of them, yeah. Secundo.
No hovercraft, no shield.
Secundo is actually the creation of Paige, but he's always standoffish against his own creator. And he has some of the funnier lines throughout the entire thing. And this whole story dialogue they have going on here is talking about how they want, if we take pictures and send it into a certain area, they will give us a bunch of money or gems in order to for each picture, and once we fill it up all the way we get a pearl. However, we are not actually going to be doing any of that throughout the entire game. There's only 3 pictures that we're going to have to be taking that are necessary to get enough money, and then the rest are all story related.
Yeah, thanks to the big skip coming up pretty soon, a lot of these extra pearls aren't necessary, and we can just skip the pictures altogether. Yeah, in 100% especially, you have to take pictures of all the animals in the game, including humans and all the subspecies of humans, and it's a very interesting part of the 100% run.
Okay, Yid. I transferred the dinero to the stinking Optima service.
Okay, that was very unfortunate, because you can get lucky enough and the Vorax will be all the way over to the left-hand side and you'll be able to take it, saving plenty of time, but if he runs all the way over there, there's nothing to really do.
Yeah, now that shield's are enabled, Paige also says to come into the workshop because there's a mission for Jade and Reporting and Company, which is, I think, their side business. How they get some.
Looks like there's a mission for you. Jade reporting. Mission M-Disc standing by.
So you're gonna see me roll into quite a few of these loading screens here, because with the loading, as long as her head is touching it. Hey, thanks, Clemmy. Really appreciate it. As long as her head hits the loading zone, it allows for us to go to the cutscene a little bit faster.
Yeah, overall, running is the fastest movement option, but that quick burst of speed at the start of the roll is what we do it for. Because the end lag of the roll is actually quite slow, so you want to just only use it to sort of...
Gotcha.
Okay, we're gonna grab this M disc here. These M discs are what allow for us to... Yes, this is voiceless speaker, Clemmy. This allows for us to tell us exactly what mission is going on here, and we have to read that M disc in order to continue the game. However, you can just skip through every bit of it by going as quick as possible using A. And so we do that, and the mission is basically having telling us that they need pictures.
If you want, I'll go along.
Clemmy says they've never heard your voice before.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I used to do runs under a different name, so maybe
computer and download a complete version of your OS. You'll be able to take a look at it, Jade.
Alright, for right here, once again, he's gonna be going into his workshop. We're gonna be following him and ignoring exactly what he just told us to do. And if you hold it in the right direction and do a little roll here, you're just gonna go right out of the workshop and right into the hangar. Now, while we're in the hangar here, we're going to go down and we are going to be hitting this right here and having Paige help us out. This will allow for the hovercraft over there, which is another one of Paige's creations, to start back up. So we can get out of the lighthouse. And one weird thing about this section is you can actually run around in circles as Jade here, but if you do it, it will actually mess up the movement.
Let's go.
I guess we'd better head straight for the MAMMAGO.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird quirks like that where the game resets your position based after a cutscene, even though in the cutscene it was, for example, in a different spot, and it can mess up your movement. So it's best to stand still, even though you can move in the cutscene.
Alright, we're gonna go on over to MAMMAGO Garage here to get our vehicle healed, but however, it's going to just completely die off altogether, and we're gonna get a tow to come over to us with MAMMAGO, and in MAMMAGO's Garage is where we have the biggest skip in the entire game. It can save about 45 minutes to an hour depending on your gameplay. And Voiceless, could you explain exactly what that trick is?
Right, so in the MAMMAGO Garage, normally you can get a bunch of upgrades for your hovercraft. So later on in the game, you unlock this spaceship called the Beluga. The Beluga also has upgrades for it, which you can buy at the MAMMAGO Garage. So the game has two docks that you can enter from and exit from the MAMMAGO Garage. So we hypothesized, what if we can exit through the door that gets you the Beluga early? Because if we can get through that door, maybe we'll spawn inside of the Beluga immediately because we exit through that same exit that the Beluga enters from. Now, there's this weird glitch where if you get your camera out of bounds, Jade's position gets reset, I believe, which just happens to be the position of that loading zone that gets you the Beluga. And then the game freaks out a little bit and then actually puts you outside of HILLYS with the Beluga immediately from the start of the game, which skips us having to get all the upgrades for the hovercraft, because all the things that the hovercraft's upgrades can do, the Beluga can do from the start. Like there's a jump jet upgrade, for example, that we don't need to get because the Beluga can fly. There's a heavy cannon that we won't need to get for the hovercraft either, because the Beluga comes equipped with it from the start as well. So a bunch of these things are completely skipped thanks to this Beluga skip. Also, it allows for overworld movement to be much faster. Now, the problem with this skip is that it is very hard so far to get it. We have a slight setup where you can see Steve here doing walking back and forth, having his camera lined above that box, the electrical box there, and then trying to walk backwards. So hoping to push the camera through the collision and then having it freak out out of bounds. Did you get it?
That was a really
Nice,
fast.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. Cool.
All right. So as you saw, right now I have my hands not on the remote whatsoever. Instead, it just pushes Jade out into HILLYS, out into the MAMMAGO garage, and then we just run back in, and we're able to drive the Beluga.
Yeah,
now,
so
as you can see, the Beluga is perfect because, as you can see, it can shoot and it can fly, so we are able to get to all of the places that we need to a lot faster.
Yeah, normally that door there is just closed if you enter with the hovercraft, but because we glitched out of bounds, we could get to the loading zone without going to that door. And this has been hypothesis for the longest time, but only quite recently have we found actual Beluga skip. Luckily.
Alright, so right here we're going to be trying and hopefully doing another skip called the Castellak skip. I'm going to be standing right about here. I'm going to move my camera. I'm going to look at my camera and move it about right there. I'm going to run forward and then jump around a cutscene where Mr. de Castellak talks to you for about a minute and a half about exactly what the mission is he wants us to do, which is to take 2 pictures of creatures that are inside of this this cave here. And because we did that, Jade's lips just freak out like crazy.
We'll find him his earthworms.
Yeah, so here in the Black Isle, it's the first kind of dungeon or mini dungeon that you have in the game, and it has a bunch of puzzles and a bunch of things. So now we'll get an upgrade for Paige, where she explains that she's been working on these jet boots, and if you make him use the jet boots, he'll slam onto the floor, which will create a sort of shockwave on the floor and make things.
They run on homemade
And the thing is what I did in order to make him talk faster. Normally you'll go in here and he says, Jade, I have something I want to tell you. And he runs to that spot exactly where I ran to, and since I ran up to there, I just talked to him as fast as I could, and it sped up having to talk to him a lot faster. So when he lands on the ground, you'll notice here, if you were to play normally through this game, you notice those are moving up and down. That would kind of give you a hint as to what you're supposed to do with these jet boots.
Cool.
So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to roll over here, and we're going to get Paige to jump up on there, and we're going to fly up here.
Why were you hiding that
So we can get Paige up here. We cannot just leave him there. Otherwise, we can't continue on with the story. Then another good thing about his jet boots are over here is that we are able to use his special attack right here, and we can send that over the side to explode stuff. Then we're gonna hit this. We're gonna get some money. And right there, I just found out recently from the world record holder that you actually, in the PC version, you cannot skip. There's actually a small tutorial there that you aren't able to skip in the PC version. And another part right there is I ran as fast as I could over here to make sure that he would do his super attack before I got over there. Otherwise, he would go over to the right-hand side and he would make us go and listen to him talk about the wall that was there and wondering how to get past it. But if you go fast enough, you're able to skip through all that.
They usually attack in groups of
Now, we're going through a lot of stuff really fast here. That enemy that I just fought is a Krochaks, and those Krochaks are able to die the same way that we did with those Dom's army people. We're able to do attack, jump, attack, break, attack. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit too much this time.
Ah, that's alright.
Jelly.
This next area right here, what normally is going to be happening here is you want to try and destroy all these enemies, and then you're going to get a cutscene with him talking about all of them going. But what we want to do here is we want to destroy only these Krochaks here, and then we're going to run over to the jellies over here, and we're going to destroy all of them. At the same time as we're trying to get onto this switch to make it so he starts walking over here, Paige walks over here, and then we're just going to do the action to make him stand on there and leave. That was actually a really fast area as well.
Yeah, and here Paige will get the Baraka D53, which allows him to open this grate that he would be explaining to us about, but we skipped past. This is one of those many upgrades that you find out throughout the game normally, and allows you to get past areas that you couldn't do.
Hey, I'm sure we'll be able to find something.
So I'm gonna stand right in this section. I can't move right at this moment, but if I stand right here, in this specific spot here, I can roll right past him after he's done knocking down the grate. Now, as long as neither one of us get hit, we're just gonna run past all these jellies, and that's good. We're gonna try and save those little, like, pie pieces that you kind of see, those like cracker sort of things that you see are actually called Starkos, and if you eat one of them, they heal a full a full heart.
Okay.
Alright, there we go. Then we're gonna get him to go over there, we're going to wait for him to start going, and then we're just gonna roll. Once again, we're gonna make Jade very impatient by rolling there, and the second it drops, we're gonna go. Now, you've seen this part enough. You've seen this upcoming part enough. Now, Voiceless, do you think you would be able to explain the Krochaks glitch that I'm doing?
Oh, yeah. So there's this Krochaks coming up after we solve this little puzzle here. And we wanna kill almost all of them except for the last one, because this will allow us to skip a cutscene. I believe it's a cutscene, right?
Yeah, it's a cutscene. It allows for us to...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Paige normally says, that he thanks you for helping him out, but that's not... we can skip it altogether by him making the Krochaks follow us. The last Krochak. But at first we will leave this one Krochak attacking Paige. It's just kind of insensitive, but oh well. And now we'll attack it once, and then it'll start following us, and then we can get away up here, because Paige is now able to do a super attack. So we can launch this soldier up. And because we never defeat that last Krochaks, the cutscene...
We never actually have to go into the cutscene. It's just basically skipping a cutscene throughout this entire little section right here. And once again, we're going to be standing in a specific angle right here and start rolling. And the second that happens, we can just roll through, and then we're going to be going into the next section where, once again, we have one more glitch. Black Isle is just absolutely littered with glitches in this game. Because this next glitch is called Bridge Skip. And what normally has to happen is you have to get rid of these first enemies that we're doing, and then we have to continue on taking a bunch of pictures and doing a little bit of backtracking, skipping like 10 or 20 cutscenes. But instead, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be standing about right here. We're going to move our camera up about there, and if I do it correctly, you're going to hold up, forward, and right, and then you're going to fall directly out of bounds. We're going to run this way, fall down, go through here, and the second that Paige goes through this rock, we're going to look up and take a picture of the left creature on the right-hand side there. And in actuality, these creatures that Castellak wanted us to take a picture of is actually our first boss of the game.
Yeah, so these two small creatures are actually one giant serpent, as you can see here, and it's a bit of a deceiving endeavor, I suppose, that Castellak up against. But a thing about this game's out of bounds is that you can just see we didn't out of bounds. It's very dangerous because if you fall out of bounds and like lose your footing, you will keep falling endlessly. There's almost never a kill zone at the bottom of the stage, So you're always going to keep falling and falling. And if you don't have a backup save, you'll have to exit to menu. And if you exit to menu, well, you lose the run. So out of bounds tricks are very dangerous because if you don't have a backup save, you just immediately lose the run.
So one thing about one trick that I did there that was kind of overlooked by some explanations that were happening. After I destroyed the first guy there, I went and I decided to find a specific spot to do my power attack that I learned. And I was hoping, which I got lucky enough, that the jellies would spawn in that exact spot, and using the power attack allowed for me to kill all the jellies in one swoop, which then made it faster to go on to the next phase. So now is coming the most important part of this fight, so we can hopefully kill off a cutscene here. We're going to get one more attack in right here, and as he's coming out of the ground here, wherever he's going to spawn, we want to attack him as many times as we can. And there we go, we got it. We skipped a whole phase of him using his breath to follow me around like we did that one time. Alrighty, so that is the Petrolomax fight in this game. Done almost perfectly.
Yeah, and this boss as well is going to give us one of these pearls that is going to be necessary to complete the game. And the only upgrade we still want to get is the last upgrade you can get in the MAMMAGO Garage, but you'll be seeing it later what that exactly is.
So we're going to roll into this. We're going to grab our pearl, and then we go into about a 2.5 minute cutscene, I believe, after we put this away. Mr. DeCastelec is going to come in, and he's going to have a little bit of a surprise for us. What is happening here, Voiceless?
So, yeah, Mr. DeCastelec is actually not who he says he is. And the boss never existed.
Mr. DeCastelec never
existed.
I think I owe you some explanations,
so now he comes out of his limousine and tells us to hop in into this little taxi cab, which is weird because is this like a fake car? Like, what are the logistics of this? It makes no sense. Anyway, he explains that he's part of the Iris Network, which is this undercover group of journalists and whistleblowers that are saying that the alpha sections are corrupt and that they're not who they say they are, that they're not protecting the people against the DOMs.
Yes. Please forgive this
so
little charade. My name is Han. I'm a member of the Iris Network.
The Iris Network are always blamed as these terrorists, but actually
fighting against a threat that no one knows exists.
we're asked here to join them and help
Nothing
them
is
out
done, the
because
entire
they're
population will be destroyed.
rebellion.
With the help of the
And the
Alpha
Alpha section
sections,
are
we can push back
well,
the
they very much
DOMs.
seem
The
evil. I
Alpha
mean, if you
sections
look
are
at
not exactly what
how
you
they all
believe
wear
them to be.
skulls and
They capture
black,
10 people
I mean,
for every one
they're
that they
kind of
The Alpha sections have been
they're
defending
kind of
us
portrayed
for
as evil
years.
guys.
They take care of the wounded, push back
But
the
yeah,
DOMs attacks.
That's
he
exactly
explains
how they
that
counter
the
suspicion
Alpha sections
and
capture
gain your confidence.
10 for
They
every
suck
one
the
person that they
lifeblood
save.
out of our planet
So they're
exactly
very
as
much
they've done
bad
to
guys.
hundreds of others. The Hillian government didn't have the time to react. They were
And this is
completely
normally, if I'm playing normally, I'll just take off my headset, but I'm just so I hate just talking to this guy. He annoys me so much.
Yeah, it's just a really long cutscene. This game has a lot of cutscenes that are just unfortunately skippable.
Victory will be
And
ours. More than ever,
we're always looking for cutscene skips.
needs people
Because
like you.
it used to
Help us
be
fight
that
the good fight.
almost half of the run was just cutscene.
If you decide to join us, rendezvous
And
at the
that
AKUDA
was
bar. Ask
with
for papers.
that was before the Beyond Good or the
You're
Beluga
free
skip.
to choose your side, Jade.
Did you
The
say
other times that this game has been run at like
Be sure to
Voiceless
remember the
has
password.
Safe run this at like at other marathons, and the last major marathon that it was run at
Discretion is the key.
had like none
By
of the
the way,
skips
I almost
that
forgot your
were
reward.
in the run that we have now.
Hope to see
Yeah,
you
and if you're
somewhere,
interested in
Jade.
ever finding glitches or
So, just what
otherwise
does
learning
Miss
about this
Jade
game,
think
there's
about
a
all this
Discord server
hootenanny?
that you can find on speedrun.com.
If there's a way to stop this
Please
war,
join up if you're
we
interested.
can't let it pass us by.
We're always interested. I'm fairly new to the community. Oops.
Let's
Uh-oh.
go see just exactly
fine.
what's behind all this.
Gave him a Starkos. I really don't care.
I know, we'll get him back later.
Yeah. Alright, so now that we had the Beluga, one big thing that we're going to do is, normally you would have to go to the AKUDA bar there in the
Keepers, you know
pedestrian district. However, since we had the Beluga,
AKUDA bar.
we're going to head up to the volcano that's right here, because this will get us quite a few pearls that we're going to need in order to equal out to our 30.
Going to have to be very
And the
careful.
one weird thing that you're
Say
going to
the treasure
notice
guarded by a colony
is
of
there's this very weird voice of some guy talking, and his name is Double H. Normally you would be going into this section with Double H and he does all the talking at this point, but instead, since he's not here,
It's
we
that
just
way, Miss
get a
Jade.
random voice talking to us.
Yeah, and this is because the game gets kind of confused because Paige's not supposed to be here, technically
DPUTT.
speaking.
Don't break up the
And
team.
you're supposed to have somebody else with you at this time,
Go get 'em,
which
girl.
we'll meet
Miss
soon
Jade.
after going to the AKUDA bar, which is our which
Torchax
happens
in
right
sight.
after Volcano. And then here we'll fight more of these Krochax creatures. We'll always try to fight the one that has the red mouth glowing, because it's the one that's about to attack you, and it'll stop attacking you while you're in that animation. So that's just the most optimal way to kill these guys. I won't be collecting all these pearls immediately. We'll be leaving some of them until we run past and then grab them.
Look out, Miss Jade! They're sending in backup!
And normally in the game, this is hinted as one of the last areas where you can still get a lot of pearls. It's like this big treasure, but we just know where it is and can immediately get it because we have a.
So as you saw, I had to pick up one pearl separately and the other ones went together, and that's because the one Krochax was by itself compared to the other ones that were together. Alright.
Also, another thing about Paige being here, where he's technically not supposed to be, because he's not supposed to be here, there's technically not much AI, I believe, for him to walk around and follow you in this part, which is quite useful because the other character called Double H, that's normally supposed to be with you here, has a tendency to, at least in my experience, break during runs and then get you stuck or soft lock you in this volcano. So thanks to him not being here, we can kind of negate that soft lock potential. There's still just some weird things with AI in this game in general. It has a tendency for characters to get stuck, or if you tell them to do something, they'll just walk in circles until you wait a moment, or if you re-enter the area by leaving it coming back. Only then will the AI reset itself and be more generous too.
So one thing that you're noticing is I'm getting up, when I climb onto a wall, I'm getting up very fast. In order to do that is once you climb up on the wall, you just hit up on the directional button or W on the PC, and you just you climb up really fast compared to just having to wait for her to climb up, which I didn't find until very recently. Alright, so we have all the pearls that we need, and Paige is running this way, and we just say, nope, Paige, we're done, let's leave. So I have to be careful here. This is one of the areas where Paige's AI has just completely shut down on me. Okay, we're good. He just stood there and waited.
Yeah, exactly. There's just no real AI for him here.
Alright, now we're leaving this volcano, and we'll never have to be coming back this way again.
Now we'll go to the AKUDA bar, which is where the pedestrian district is where we'll find most civilian people walking around, and this bar is where they have the Iris Network's secret headquarters.
Maneuver
talk
not
to a guy
allowed.
called-
Collision risk high.
and he'll hopefully give us entrance.
So one thing that I like to point out is that the Beluga keeps saying, maneuver not allowed, risk too high. Well, if you just keep on hitting A to drop out of the vehicle, eventually it'll just get annoyed with you and it'll just drop you anyway. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, just force it through. Eventually, the AI computer will just let you through. It's kind of a bad.
So I think I have enough pearls that I'll be able to need for later, but just for safety purposes. I've been screwing up recently. I'm just gonna take a picture of him really quick. It takes like 2 seconds in order to do it. And then we're going to get this code right here. G4. Hey, look, a repeat. So can you explain exactly what these codes are?
Alright, so these codes are randomly generated throughout the game. They are always a letter, then a number, letter, then a number. And these codes are used to open doors throughout the game. Now, even if you have the potential to predict these codes, because they're always random, right? Every run they're different. Even if you can predict these codes by using save states or other methods, you actually won't be able to open gates until you've actually received the code in your pocket, basically. And we'll be getting these through email and through these little tickets here, because Peepers here, after this minigame, he'll give us a code to open up the secret headquarters of the Iris network. Later on, we'll be also getting them through email, but they'll always be after we provide some kind of evidence towards the Iris network before they'll give us the code.
So there's going to be multiple one of these coming up in the future. We need W9K9. We need people to guess their predictions on what it's going to be. W9K9.
Yeah, that'd be it would be funny to see if somebody got a code right.
It's very rare, but at least you can see if you can get at least a couple of them right, like either a letter or a number. It always has to be letter number.
There's been 2 duplicates already of numbers. That's win a gift sub.
Yeah, win a gift sub. Yeah.
Allow me to introduce you to Jade, our new agent.
So,
hey, go for it. I have no subscriptions anyway, so.
This is May, editing
and this cutscene, Han here explains to us that the Iris network is a bunch of these people that are working underground, kind of journalists, right? They have the newspaper that they report to, of all these corrupt on all these corrupt alpha sections. And we are going to be going to the Nutripills factory where we can you should explain about Peepers because it's your favorite character. I'll not talk over it.
Peepers is my favorite character. He just pops in and he just randomly says like 2 or 3 lines throughout the entire run. But his voice just cracks me up every single time.
She's willing to help us, but her HQ is under surveillance.
Also, Han says here, no hospitals have received any kind of people from these kidnappings or attacks, attacks by the DOMs. Basically, the Alpha Section then comes in, and then they protect the people, right? But actually, they take them captive, and they don't bring them to hospitals at all. And as Nino explains here, they are taken from the Nutripills factory to the slaughterhouse and then to the moon. And we don't know what kind of suffering that people have to go through, but we do know they end up on the moon, which is, well, a very kind of bad place to be, I'd say, without a spaceship.
His last photos are terrifying.
A spirit eater.
We need someone to take over the mission.
So, yeah, he explains that Double H is captured in the Nutripills factory, and hopefully we can find him in our report.
Pictures of the Alpha sections and their victims. You'll be in constant contact with May. She'll broadcast your photos as quickly as she receives them.
All right, so what we're gonna be getting next is a key to the city. Basically, having this key will allow us to get into almost any
city pass.
A city pass, which allows us to get into almost anything inside of
Good luck.
places that we want to go to.
Jade, I burned an M disk for you.
And watch her fly. You roll here, and then she just gets right back up without having to touch the ground.
So, also, one of these things we just received is called the City Pass, and it allows us to walk further into the city, but it doesn't actually do much throughout the entire game, especially not.
Keep up the good work, sugar. And one day, you just might come out of your shell.
So that was one of Paige's AI weird moments. He just stood in the middle of the AKUDA bar doing absolutely nothing.
Yep. So now we'll be going to the factory, and the factory we can. There's usually if you would approach with the hovercraft, there's this drone in front of it, and this drone prevents you because it literally grabs you up and then throws you away, so you can't enter the factory. But because we are spawning the beluga, or we attach the beluga and have it, the drone doesn't even spawn anymore. Like, it just completely disappeared from the game. And normally you'd have to get this cannon to shoot it down, like this special cannon which costs 5 pearls. But even if we would need to do that, the beluga already has this cannon equipped on it, so we could just completely skip upgrading to a straight to the factory.
And I love right here when you're going into the factory. Nope, can't shoot here.
Nope,
Too
can't
dangerous.
shoot here. It's too
Alright,
dangerous.
we need everybody to make their first code prediction right now. We're about to take a picture that we're gonna need code for.
Yeah, so these barcodes we'll be taking pictures of, and then the code breakers at the Iris network starts going to work, and they'll give us a code. Or that
Open your eyes.
They'll give us the code.
N7B5. N7B5.
Yeah, and we wait a couple of seconds with opening the email, because we have a bunch of these emails already, and if we open it too early, we'll load in those emails instead, and it'll lose us a little bit of time. So we wait exactly X amount of blinks before the email appears, and then we open that one.
That's why we really don't get rid of any of our emails that we have there, because it helps us to count how many blinks.
Yeah, that. Yeah, exactly that, and it's just slow to open emails that aren't important. Only for codes.
So right there's one of my favorite moments of impatience in Jade. You have Paige open up the vent, and then you do the action for Paige, and then you do for Jade, and you constantly make her hit the wall, so it makes it look like she's very impatient, waiting for him to do it. So right here, I'm hitting that, and I have to wait for his dialogue to come by. That means that he is heading this way. If we don't hear him say that dialogue, he will not run up this way.
Need a hand?
Yeah, and Paige has stated this concern numerous times at this point, that this is where we have to be careful, because we might get captured by these people and never be heard from again, and what will happen to the orphans, etc. So we wanna make sure that we don't get captured, because there's stealth sections coming up as well.
That's not all, Jade. That's not all. Ha! So much.
Alright, and this right here is the first time that we actually see what the Spirit Eater or Spirit Reaper is going to, is able to do. We don't know exactly how it can hurt us, but we can see what it's been doing to the walls. So this is what's going to be coming up and what we're going to be fighting on later on in the game.
Let's stop while we still can.
The Iris Network is telling the truth. This is where we need it most. Alright. The camera angles just do not work out with exactly what where you're supposed to be going. And right down, once we open up this door here, it comes into one of the stupidest fights in the entire game, the service elevator. The service elevator, there's a bunch of robotic enemies that are right here. I usually hold down the button here and I send it out, because they can do that to you. And there's nothing you can actually do about it.
These enemies, because they come from all angles and they have kind of a random movement and attacking pattern, they're kind of hard to predict. And they also attack really fast. Normally, like, if you have one coming from right around the corner, he can hit you straight away and kind of...
Alright. That was a decent fight. I got hit once, which isn't that big of a deal, because we're actually gonna need only one heart coming up in a fight later on. For a little bit of death warp coming up.
Yeah, also coming right up is the introduction of a new character. We've already seen him though, or heard of him before, back in the volcano. We're gonna meet him just now after this little fight. With these drones, you wanna wait until their shield's back and then hit them into. Well, these guys don't actually have shields. Just hit them into the electricity and it'll open up the electricity path.
So right here we find the long lost Double H. Double H is being sucked dry basically by the DOMs here. So what we need to do is we need to take a picture of him right here.
Got it.
Then we need to make another if anybody wants to make okay, I'm just not close enough. There we go. Yeah, we're taking another picture, so take your predictions again.
It should work.
G9S7.
And we take that picture of Double H there first because that's a part of evidence that they want to see before they want to open you this locker up. And then this
So
lock, yeah, you can
inside of that we have what we call the M-Disc launcher. We're going to be using this quite a bit throughout the game. It helps us out quite a bit. We're going to turn around and use it right away. We're going to shoot this 3 times to stop the eye from actually sucking Double H dry here.
Yeah, and Double H being in this machine has turned his brain kind of to mush, and he has some weird dialogue
right?
because of it. He's a kind of eccentric ex-army.
They turned my brain to jelly.
But he does,
are you our
and
contact?
he's not that great of a character. A lot of people aren't a big fan of his, but he has some of the funniest lines to,
Does the iris
in my opinion.
mean anything to you?
Yeah, I
Just
like him a lot.
the interactions.
Jade, my name is Jade,
Triple Z, Double H.
and I haven't the foggiest how
he
we're gonna
calls
get
him
out of
the
here.
pirate.
For that, I may be of some assistance there.
So,
So
you are Double H.
H.
Right here. Double H, Triple Z, whatever pleases you, don't ask me. All I know is that in another 10 minutes, I was a goner. I owe you my life.
Hence, you can count on me, Miss Lyris.
Alright, so now that we have this whole
My name is Jade.
now that we have this dialogue done, what we're going to do is we're going to turn our camera to look to the right so he can use his action at the same time as I grab the pearl. Doing this, hopefully if I did it correctly, this cutscene will end and it will go back right into the cutscene of me getting the pearl, which it did, which is really good.
Miss Lyris, don't
So now we're going to go this way.
just fine. I'll find a way out of
And then we are heading into the next area where we're going to be meeting our next boss. So this is this boss is not the last boss of the game, but it's the last boss that we actually have to take a picture of. Can you try and explain the fast kill for this boss?
Yeah, so after the Spirit Reaper, we take a picture of him, and then we hit him once, and then he's going to jump away. And basically how you want to get him is you want to shoot a gyro disc at him first. Then he's going to hold Paige in front of him, because he has this weak spot in his eye. When he holds Paige in front of him, you can run up quickly, hit him once, and then immediately shoot another gyro disc, because after you hit him once, he's going to jump away to a spot high above and shoot at you from up there. But because that's slow, we shoot him immediately after, and that will skip the cycle, and he'll just instead jump straight away to the next zone. And that way we can skip him having to go high above and shoot at you slow. Now near the end of the, after doing this a couple times, he's gonna jump up high again, actually for one, he's gonna jump up high once, and once he does this, he's gonna shoot at you,
That was a
jump back down.
fight.
Yeah.
So we're gonna stand right here, which means I can just hit him right off onto the ground, down below me like that. And doing so, then that fight is completely over with.
And there's a pearl that's
Thanks, Jade. I'd have ended up on a silver platter with an apple in my mouth.
We do have a pearl down there. We are not going to be going after that pearl right away. Instead, we're going to be running over this way. And this is the reason that we need this is the reason that we need only one heart. We're going to be doing a little section that will allow for us to skip quite a bit of the game. So what's going to happen here is we're going to go around here, and we're going to
Maybe this old pig can't fly, but he's still got a balance in his
we're
step.
going to be, come on, grab that, push that, thank you.
That's what's making contact.
Grabbing a key, and that key actually is an enemy that's going to happen here. So we're gonna make sure that we hit him into, we're gonna step far enough away because he doesn't attack right away. We're gonna make him roll over this way. And doing that, we're gonna then have Paige do that for us. And then we're gonna do it again because that was a really bad spot. Get into the oops, okay.
Hammer time!
There we go. Get into the electricity. Remember where this is.
You've got one heck of a way with Guardian.
For the sole purpose of, now that we have this, we're gonna run back over this way. And then we want to get hit here. And we want to die. Doing this will allow for us to not have to do that fight, as well as we're going to be able to pick up an invisible key that's right there. And then when we get the chance, we're going to be giving that key to Paige, which we're going to need him to use right here. Because if I step any closer to that, I'm going to have to do that fight all over again.
Yeah, so in this game you can also tell your companion to use keys, and we duplicate the key as well because we want to give one later to Double H, I believe. Right? Yeah, I'm not sure if that's actually. I don't know. But
right.
yeah, we.
So the reason that I was so far away from grabbing that, grabbing the thing there was because if you step too close, you still have to do the fight. So now we're going to go into here and we're going to grab everything that Paige has right here except for the M disc and his jet boots. And now we're going to try and see if we can get a couple of glitches going on right here.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Nothing personal, Jade. Even the
I might have
Vaders
gotten
been
it.
screwed with. Hang in there, old buddy. Uncle Paige will make it all
Yeah, so we're
better.
telling Paige here to repair the elevator
think
because
you can
that's
fix
where
it?
we'll need to go to continue
I'll
on
give it a go.
to the factory.
Don't be expecting
So
any
we'll start doing
miracles.
that, and we'll still need the
One
fuse.
heck
That's
of
why
a
we
jolt.
got the fuse
Look at
just now.
that cable. Hey, he's still needing his new beater. You didn't forget about that, did you?
Alright, we're going to try and see if we can get a little different glitch.
Refuse. I've got one.
Oh,
It
heard the
should
dialogue acting for
Well,
that.
buddy, I'm thinking you just might be in working order again.
So what I'm going to do is try and get over here as
For the
fast as
piston,
possible
did
while
what
he's
it
in the middle of
could.
talking and
Just
see
put
if
the
I can glitch
thingamajig
him
back into
out.
whatchamacallit.
If he's standing in front of this, then I didn't get the glitch. Otherwise, if he's away from it, that means that we did good. Ah, cool, we got it. So normally, Paige is supposed to be standing right in front of the machine talking about it, but we went so fast that Paige is just standing in the distance where he's not supposed to be.
Not gonna hold long.
I think I figured out how to do that, voiceless. You have to get over to the breaker and put in the breaker fast enough.
Yeah, I figured something like that. But yeah, after this,
Yes, maybe
we,
did
we,
one
we
heck
go
of a
up,
job, partner.
and Paige will give us this
Don't
M
go getting
disc,
too excited there, Jade. You ask me, the
which
fat lady
we will find out
hasn't
later.
sung
The
yet.
details about the beluga, which we have already found. So it's kind of yeah.
Yeah, so the M disc, this M disc that Paige is gonna give us right here, like Voiceless was saying,
Very good.
usually you're
By
given
the
M
way,
discs
Jade,
for
here,
missions,
this came
but this
for
M
you the
disc,
other day.
since we don't actually
Better
read it,
have a
I'll
look
just
at it.
tell
Why
it
didn't you tell
what
me
it is.
sooner? It's
Right now,
probably a
it's
mission.
it's
Yeah,
an M disc
probably.
from Paige
Sorry.
saying how much he loves
with everything
her and is
going
very
on
proud of
lately.
her for doing all this stuff.
No problem.
Yeah, it's a
Let's
very touching.
Alright, let's see if I can get a pretty decent fight. So we're gonna be fighting these guys again, but this time they're a little bit easier to fight.
No, Steve, did you know that you can hit those 2 switches that you use space to open with the M-Disc launcher? If you hit them both quick enough with the
Not too
M-Disc launcher,
bad, sugar.
be a big
Without you, I'd be
Well,
smoking
kind
ham
of
by
just
now.
do that before the run because it takes a bit of practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can
Well,
shoot them in quickly
no.
enough and then the gate opens.
Oh, that would be a lot faster had I known that beforehand.
Yeah, well. I only just
Okay,
now
we need F's in chat at this moment for Paige, because we have something bad that's about to happen to Paige here.
Go away, you raggle shit!
Jade immediately starts running back because Paige is in trouble. But as you'll soon find out, we are too late. Oh yeah, I think Xbox aiming is gonna make that hitting those switches quickly really hard because it's kind of slow, I believe. Like with PC, you just have your mouse, and if you have high sensitivity, you can just like that.
Oh, okay. So, what normally happens there is you have to, that area that you saw me just go into and then leave right away. Normally what happens is you have to go down and take pictures and see the behind the scenes of what's actually happening. However, if you just walk into there and leave, that's what triggers that cutscene to happen. So what I'm doing right here is normally you have to, come on. Come on. There we go. So you normally have to move it very close right there in order to see through the wall to find the switch that you have to hit. But some of the, this is going to be important later, because some of the switches that we have in the game, or the walls in this game, you can actually shoot through. So later on in this level, it's actually even more important than just what I did right there.
There's just some poor hitboxes overall in this game. So next up as well, there's Double H tells us to be careful because there's guards all over the sector and they can be dangerous. So the game starts the stealth section basically. The stealth in this game is very interesting because all the guards, at least in my experience, some of them have more vision range or are able to hear you, while others can't hear or like hardly see you at all. So you have to kind of learn the patterns and what movement is best for each guard, and you can do some really fast movement. And it's always a high tense part of the run, in my opinion.
Wow, that was a new one. I've never had that before. That was very lucky. That's what's supposed to happen in that section.
Yeah. So in the slaughterhouse section, which is not going to be part of any percent, but it is in any percent no matrix skips, there's actually a whole bunch of stealth sections and a whole bunch of optimized movement and some cool glitches that allow us to get through stealth sections really fast. And it really makes, because casual playthrough the stealth section, I found it to be really hard. But once you start doing the runs, you can see some crazy fast movements
sneak up behind the guards and strike them on their air tanks.
So you've been seeing that. I haven't. You would think that the noises that you get from the rolling, they would be able to hear. But as long as you're not running, they will not be able to see you. So it's just a lot of practicing of where you know where you have to roll and where you're able to run.
Yeah, this guard here just now, like, we could just completely run past and he won't hear a thing even when you're running up to it. While other guards, if you start running near them, like in their vicinity, they'll hear you through the walls and immediately start going into alert mode. So it's kind of weird how that changes on a guard-to-guard basis.
Calling all guards, hold your positions and stay on alert. Intercept and destroy.
Alright, so like right here, we're just gonna wait until we're gonna follow this box until he can't see it. We can't see him anymore, and then we're just gonna roll. Oh, I guess not. I went too early. That sucks. So the fastest way to get rid of this is we're just gonna kill ourselves. That was very unfortunate.
Yeah, in these whole sections, if you mess up, you can sometimes lose a lot of time, especially in some later sections where there's checkpoints way further back, or like in this case where you have to wait in the box all the time. It can lose you a bunch of time if you get caught. So that makes it even more intense of a part of the run, I think.
So taking this picture right here is required in order to continue through the story, because these are part of the whole reason that you're going into this section in the first place.
Yeah.
If you don't get these two pictures, they will not allow you to continue on with the game.
Yeah, so this is on those extras you can see that there's human trafficking happening in the Neutrophils factory, which is quite disturbing, to say the least. So yeah, that is partially evidence, and coming up is another picture of the DOMs that being directly influenced with the Alpha section.
Shoes.
But first we'll get the pick up Paige's shoes here.
What have they done with
So Paige's shoes, if you're playing it 100% or a no major glitches, you actually have to memorize one of the codes off of the bottom of those shoes for almost the entire game.
Yeah, normally the bottom right or the right shoes code has the code that you need to remember, and I often write it down on a piece of paper so I don't forget it at the end of the run. When you use it to get the blue gun and open there's the terminals you have to fill in these codes in, and then you open to get the blue gun. Use the code for that.
Ah, crap! I tried. This is a very hard part to try and get like a fast cycle on. That's not that bad of a thing.
Relatively quick checkpoint.
So we're just gonna wait for him here, otherwise he will see us. This next section is just as bad. Alright, there we go. We're fine. Because what I can do here is I can just roll past him here. And now we're on to almost the last section here. We just had to walk with this barrel right here. And once we have that, once we get to this spot, we can just walk forward because none of them will see us. And then we're going to jump up, stand up right here and jump up on the box. And none of the guys just happen to see you at all.
Yeah, and coming
Drop down.
Coming up is laser skip.
That's the first, but okay. So
oh yeah, they
laser
can see you at
skip.
the end though.
Laser skip, I'm going to be making a safety save. I always do even in my regular runs here, but here's our last picture that we need. We just need a picture of his face.
Good.
And then I'm going to make a safety save here because what's going to happen here? Tell him exactly like what can happen if this goes wrong.
So yeah, if you mess up this trick, either you die because you have to push yourself through these lasers, and if you take too much damage, you die. But you can also, because you're then pushed out of bounds, we use that to skip a section because where we walk carefully and then skip a bunch of stealth sections. But if you are not careful, you can fall out of bounds, and if you fall out of bounds, like I explained earlier, you will be soft locked until you exit to the main menu, and if you don't have a backup save, you will lose the run. So in optimal runs, we would not get a save, but if you then fall out of bounds, you are immediately the run's over. So it's quite a harsh trick to fail.
So what happened there is that was actually a very good laser skip. So what happened is I put one foot on top of the conveyor belt and another foot on top of the floor so I wouldn't move, and I had the box push me about 60% of the way through the box, or through the wall and the box. And when I did that, I held up and rolled once. This allowed for me to skip past the first set of lasers.
Yeah, there's another code prediction coming up, so...
Yep, here's our last predictions until the very end. 1, 2, 3, 4... C6, M6.
Try that one.
Yeah, also, as Steve was saying earlier, if you don't have the evidence, the Iris people will not give you the code for these terminals. Also coming up is another boss fight, and this boss fight, like we saw earlier with these the poor hitbox that you can shoot through the wall, you can actually use that to skip most of this boss because he has this grate that he opens up, and only then his weak spot is exposed. But if you shoot your gyro discs just right, you can shoot him. You can shoot him straight through the grate and damage him like immediately without waiting.
Calling all guards. Continue.
Yeah, if you could consider this a boss fight.
The pig has been captured. They're bringing him in now.
Yeah, and Paige there is being transported and taken to the slaughterhouse, proving once more what the Iris Network was.
Your Excellency. The problem has been taken care of.
When we were younger,
the
face of this guy was actually very creepy.
Everything's under control.
Oh yeah, yeah. The DOMs infected humans are very. Or DOMs infected alpha sections are very.
How much? I'm asking you, Voiceless. How much does laser skip actually skip?
A couple of rooms, I think it's a couple of minutes. But actually, the movement there was quite optimized by some people, and so I would say it doesn't save that much time, but it is still a cool glitch, and it still saves time anyway, so might as well try it.
That's why I practice it every time before I run.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it saves a maximum of 2 minutes, but more like 1.5 or something. I don't know. I usually run through those sections really fast before laser skip, so I don't know. I'd have to time it.
Yeah, that's still quite a bit of time though when you're doing a run.
Yeah. So now this machine monster is going to get affected by this Dom's Pearl or Dom's Core, and then we'll have to fight it.
This is my favorite fight because it also has one of the best lines in the entire game, in my opinion. So, surprise, Double H is back, but he's so serious throughout the entire run except for this.
Hey, what the heck is this thing?
Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna run to about right here. We're gonna pull out our disc, and we're just gonna shoot it through the grate right here. This will allow for us to completely skip having to do the fight, and that's the end of the fight. That's the fastest I've actually done that.
Yeah, the top right corner of that grate, and also the back grate, is just open. Or, well, it just doesn't have any hitbox, so you can just shoot straight through it.
Oh, really? The front doesn't either?
No, yeah, the front or the other side is also has an opening, but it's a bit harder to get through, I believe.
Oh, I just go to right at that spot and it works every time.
Yeah, it does, so you might as well.
They've taken Paige!
If it wasn't for you, it would have been me they took for a free
But yeah, as we were saying before, there's different hitboxes in here that just aren't completely solid like I did for the door.
I'll find you,
And
Paige, no matter what.
that's what we used for this boss phase. Normally, like Voiceless was saying, you have to knock down both legs, which will then knock down the grate, so you're able to do it. And then oh, I missed it. That's fine. We'll just run into it. There we go. And then we are going to go over here, and we're going to pick up our last health upgrade that we're going to be using throughout the entire run. We're going to give you that.
Here.
Go over here, and we're going to use one ourselves. And then let's see if we can try and trap Double H from not getting into here. You can trap Double H outside of... Oh, no. That's not good. Okay. The bottom works, too, Clemmy? Alright, so we're going to run over this way, and then we are going to just head back out the way that we originally came.
Hey,
but we have, before we actually leave this place, we have one more thing that we have to do.
Behind this door lies the cursed machine they used to rob me of half my
But first things first is we have to hopefully get a dialogue box coming in here that we always first do. I got Clippy. That's good. That saves like half a second clipping through that wall there. Now, if we listen in carefully to this dialogue box, Paige is missing, but he might skip in on us and get one more dialogue box in for us.
Don't ask me. All I know is how much he meant to me.
Give us good luck, Paige. Come on.
Looks like you're finally getting your head back together again. You back with us?
Getting there. But my head is killing me.
Oh, we didn't get it.
My brain a good scrubbing.
That's too bad. Yeah, the game's dialogue can mess up because if we go so fast, it sometimes doesn't expect certain characters to be there. Like Paige will often say, "Hey Jay, that's cool if you fit," even though he's already gone for a long time.
Respect the home team, Chapter 12. Ouch! Preserve the home team. 10-4. Mechanism is just over there.
Alright, so now we destroyed all those enemies, then we're going to put in our last fuse box here. And doing this will allow for the gate to open up and we're able to leave. But before we actually leave this town, we are going to be grabbing our last pearl. But we're going to have to be doing it fast because Double H, since he was in the machine for 16 hours, it's starting to affect his whole body in general.
Might be able to do something.
Yeah, and he apparently can't breathe as this infection of the DOMs starts spreading inside his body. We'll need to get him to the Iris network because they might be able to do something to help us.
I'm connecting to my auxiliary circuits, but they won't.
But this time is very generous.
We have to be careful here and make sure that he gets through. He can get stuck. Okay, we're good.
Where are you, Miss Jade?
Come on, Double H. You coming? There he is. Okay, we're good. Let's hope. Our usual average for him is about 404 to 403. Okay, good. He did the full-on jump here. We're gonna go into here. Then this is where we're gonna be getting our pearl. We're just gonna go into this room and start heading backwards. This will give us that, and we're gonna exit the factory. So now we're just going to turn right, and we are going to leave here. Now this is the reason that we brought the Beluga closer to us. This will actually get us there a lot faster. Plus there's stuff that's blocking our way, so it wouldn't really help for us to just blast over there.
Maneuver not allowed.
And we're also going to be using it later to get our last set of pearls. So now we're heading back to the we're heading back to the pedestrian district and heading back into the Iris network so they can help us with Double H. And this is where we're going to be after this cutscene with the Iris network. We're going to do one little shopping spree if we're on the right track with our pearls.
I can't see a thing. Where are you, Miss Jade?
Yeah, and in the pedestrian district, even though Double H says, "Oh, I can't see a thing," we could just head straight to the Iris network and he'll just spawn with us. But as you can also see, there's people in uprising a little bit. You can see it in the pedestrian district. People in uprising against the alpha sections and the propaganda. So our report is definitely working to some degree, but not the majority of civilians are
Alright, Voiceless, what do we got going on here?
Right, so now Double H comes back in, and we'll get him hopefully back to good health. And the Iris network explains that our report has gotten people to go into uprising, and they have sent in generous donations of pearls that we'll get at the end of this cutscene. And he wants us to go and report on the slaughterhouse and find out what we can find there. But because this is any %, we will be completely skipping the slaughterhouse section. If you want to see it, you can go to No Major Skips, or 100% where you can see more of the slaughterhouse section, which is my favorite section of the game. It has a lot of complicated stealth sections and other cool moments. Anyway, after we get these pearls, we'll be getting some more pearls in a little side area coming up, and afterwards we're just gonna head straight to the moon, where the alpha sections were taking the other people, as was discussed in the first.
Jade has just shown us an amazing demonstration of courage.
Nice work, kid.
Good. Now come have a look. That's where the victims are taken.
He's so random.
Yeah. Jade.
The old slaughterhouses.
Your next report.
Alright, so if I did everything correctly, we shouldn't be leaving here. The Hillian people have shown support in giving us a bunch of different pearls. If we come out of this section with 25, we should be golden. Yep. We are good, and we're on our way to finishing up the rest of the game here. So before we leave the pedestrian district, we are going to do a shopping spree for a couple of different items. WWTAO. We work together as one.
We work together as one.
Carlson and Peters, page 823.
Page 823.
Alright. Now we're gonna run down here, and we are going to run straight, and we're gonna go... Don't break up the team, Clemmy. So now we're gonna run down here, and we're gonna, instead of going to the left, we're gonna run to the right here, and if I do everything correctly, I shouldn't have to speak to the person here, but if I still took it, even though I took it, they didn't have me show off my card. We buy one there, and then we're gonna go into Ming Su's here, and if I have enough money, hopefully I do, I will be able to buy myself another pearl and an upgrade for my power attack. And my power attack is that it's okay. I have enough.
Identification. Okay.
Yeah. So the power attack, it allows us to after you do a charge attack, you can quickly press the attack button many times, and it'll shoot off these little homing orbs that are useful for example, the alpha sections. They can hit the backpacks or just do a bunch of damage to other enemies. So it's just a general ability that's useful, especially for the final fight coming up in the end of the game.
And you were saying that if you use that power attack during that fight after we're on the moon, I should be able to hit the guy faster that way too.
Yeah, at the start of that fight, you power disc on the first guard. You can just like the moment the other guard is like running towards you to attack, you can just hold the charge attack and then release the moment he starts to attack with his hammer. You can jump up and then use the little orbs to hit his backpack and finish the fight quickly.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna go into the Beluga. And we're gonna go to the only alpha section undercover area right here. And this, you saw we had 27. We had 27 of our pearls. Going here, we will get our last 3 that we need.
I can't shoot here.
Too dangerous.
It's too dangerous.
All right, we'll run up here. We have our purple, and then head over here.
He's getting away with a pearl.
And normally throughout the game, you'd be collecting these like a square and triangle key, and there's even a star key, and use them to open various doors throughout the game. But we won't be using much of those in any percent. Just the square key and the triangle key. And here we can see Steve hitting more of these robots into these electric fences. After bouncing them up with a super attack, you can just use his aiming tool to launch them directly into these electric fences and destroy them. But it's kind of difficult if Double H gets in the way.
Alright, that was a better hit.
And at the end of this hallway are 3 more Grojacks, and they have 3 more pearls that we need to collect our last. So we have 30 pearls for the final amount.
I'll try and not destroy that white rat that's there. Oh, pick it up. There we go. Alright, and MAMMAGO's Garage will be very happy
MAMMAGO Garage is the one who's going to be
because we have our 30 pearls, and this will allow for us to get our boosters to head up into the moon.
Yeah, so the boosters are the last upgrade you normally get in the game, but it is going to be the first real upgrade we get at all from the MAMMAGO Garage, and immediately the last one, because once you head to the moon, there's no coming back. It is the end game. That is the final dungeon of the game.
Oops. I don't know why I split there.
Oh, yeah, Alpha Spider is still coming up. 22 minutes of save time.
Alright. So now, since we don't have Paige with us, he's heading out to slaughterhouses. We might still be able to hear his voice if you missed his voice. Oh, I skipped it. It didn't come up.
Oh, man. So another fun thing about this game, it is voiced in many different languages, and back when I used to do runs, I would used to play it in various languages because the dialogue's actually pretty good in the other languages, in my opinion. There's some good voice work done in this game in general. They have various ways of saying some funny insults that the characters say towards each other. They have various ways of saying that in other languages. It's pretty funny.
And now that we're able to go off into the moon, we're just gonna hold straight up and keep on hitting B, because the second we hit B, we'll be boosting right off into the moon. One thing that I never mentioned throughout this entire game, it's kind of obvious, but since I'm playing on the Xbox, the loading screens are a little bit slower. Most of these times when you see the little bar going, that normally wouldn't happen on the PC version.
Yeah, loading times on PC are really fast. But I believe there's also a bit more instability in the PC version. Like, I've had it where I just fallen through the floor at some points in the slaughterhouse, for example, and then just, well, you're staff locked because you fall out of bounds. And that kind of stuff happens. I believe more so than it does in COD.
There's the transmitter. That's where we need to try to get in.
But I'm not sure.
So the reason that I went down low is because normally you would have to go around the corner in order to get into that section, but if you go down low, it just teleports you, so all you have to do is boost straight. It's something that I just started doing. I don't know if it saves any time at all. It probably doesn't. It's just something I decided to start doing.
So we're entering this big transmitter here because the plan of the Iris network is we have all this evidence against the alpha sections, and the alpha sections keep on sending this propaganda through all these screens, and it comes from this transmitter that's on the moon. So if we can get control of this transmitter, we can send all our evidence that we have against the alpha sections through all the screens of the alpha section, and hopefully start a revolution, which we'll get to see in the longest cutscene of the game.
Alright, this little section right here is kind of boring. It's a little bit of a puzzle section, but a very simple puzzle section. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving these pillars and moving the pillars of light to different areas. So before we even set down the other pillar, we're going to grab onto this one and we're going to move it over as close as we can to that right there. Then we're going to release it, and we're going to go over here, raise this up, and grab right onto it because it's already lined up with it, and we're going to move it over to the left. And if you listen very carefully to the background, it makes this level a little bit freakier, but you could hear pigs squealing in the background, and a lot of other screams of other people.
Yeah, and this is actually disturbing because normally throughout the game you'd have seen a cutscene where Paige is on the moon and he's radioing into the Iris network that he's been captured and that he's been taken here. So we know that we're here to rescue Paige as well, other than use the transmitter. So we know that he might be nearby. So the pig squeals are kind of maybe hinting at that.
Alright, so this next section, this is the last one of moving these little ones. Then we're going to be moving over here where we're going to have to be using our blaster, and we have to hit twice here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oops. A second one, please. 2. And then I'm not over far enough for the third one. Unfortunate. and number 3. 3. That was really bad. Sometimes you can get that, most of the time you don't.
Yeah, the aiming on Xbox is a little bit slower, it seems, I think, when I look at the footage here. But, I mean...
So, after getting all that transmissions, supposedly all these transmissions that we got from Paige, we finally find out where Paige is, and he just happens to be trapped inside of this amber here. And when you're younger, this puzzle was very difficult to figure out, but it's actually one of the easier puzzles. If you just go on the outside edge on almost every single one of these sections here, it will follow all the way around the outside edge. And then once we do that, we are going to make it a little bit easier by running over here, and we're going to turn it right here so it locks onto that, and then we're going to turn it one more time to go right there. And doing that, once those lower up, it's going to fill up everything, and then we can leave. The problem is I need to make sure that Double H's health is there. The reason that I wait, I'm the only one that does that. If Double H's health disappears completely there, then we have a chance of Double H of completely disappearing near the end, and we really need him.
You alright? Huh?
Yeah, Paige will have to wait in that little amber for a little bit while we get our report here in the cloister. But there's this little fight coming up, right?
Was that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Oops.
That saves a lot more time than fighting him one-on-one. A lot less variables of... Oh, yeah.
Stop it, Jade. Problem is I do not see Double H's health, which is a big issue.
Yeah, but I'm sure he'll be fine later. I hope.
If he's not here later on, then we have a safety save that can happen.
So coming up here is a little maze of elevators. It's quite easy to traverse, especially from the path. And we hear that the HILLYS are getting suspicious. General Keck speaking, which is the leader of the Alpha sections, to one of the leaders of the DOMs here. We want to take a picture of that meeting, but through some clever positioning, we can actually take that picture through the wall
without having to watch the cutscene.
Yeah, normally you'd walk right into that window there and then talk or listen to these guys having this conversation. So we can just skip that. Take a picture of the wall, which is clearly evidence that these guys are working with the DOMs.
Oh yeah, so much evidence. But even though we skipped that cutscene and got the picture, the dialogue that would normally happen after taking that picture is still happening.
Yeah, so here the DOM's priest says that the girl has the power and she is Shawnee, and only she can save the DOMs, which is very strange. I don't think it's fully worked out at the end of the game. But
okay, we're safe.
But yeah, with that picture of the wall, we should be seeing a cool report coming up soon at the transmitter. Once we start broadcasting those pictures, at least.
So everybody, get your bets in as to. Well, in just a little bit here, we have a minute, just a second to go here. We're gonna be having one more time that you'll be able to say a code.
Double H, I saw the prisoners.
We're just gonna run forward enough, have him use the action to open that up. Normally we would hit that first, and then we would go to the section that we did. However, we just hit everything, head out, and then come back in so we can leave right away, and it kind of spazzes out some of the stuff later on as well.
Yeah, but here we find out that Paige is unfortunately dead. If we maybe gotten him out of the amber straight away, he would still be alive. But we decided that the report was more important. So I guess we.
So, we definitely need one more F in chat for
I'll come back for you. I'll bring you back home.
This section of the game is very sad when you're first playing it.
Yeah, it's a companion that goes with you for a lot of the game, and it's very caring, especially. This game's story is just fantastic overall. Like,
the music is fantastic. The story is fantastic. If you've never played this game before, you can ask anybody that's played the game before. They say it's one of their favorite games of all time. It's got fantastic reviews from almost any source that you can think of.
Yeah, I highly recommend playing it casually and even running it as well. There's a lot of cutscenes and with a lot of quotable dialogue. It's very fun.
Shawnee, it's incredible.
So before we're about to leave to get to the area, we find out that we get a message from the chief, who we find out later on just happens to be Paige. That's earlier on in the story, correct? We find out that he's the chief of...
Yeah. We find that out by him transmitting, sending a radio signal to the Irish that he's on the...
You didn't screw up my settings.
Oh, that's right, okay.
They're exactly as I found them.
After the slaughterhouse, that happens.
Paige,
so, right here... if you, in this cutscene where they do a flashback of her just standing there looking over him and her hands on him, watch Paige's head. It freaks out there, and then her hands freak out right there, just because we did things a little bit out of order.
Starting to understand it.
Paige, the kids, they...
Yes, I know. Kidnapped too.
They've taken them to the Great Crypt. The only way to get there is by using the landing strip. We'll have to come back in the ship.
So if anybody is interested in running this game and looking for glitches to try and skip this cutscene,
the only way of obtaining the support of the Hillyans is to follow Nino's
Yeah, there's still
plan,
plenty of cutscene skips, I think, to find.
and use the long-range transmitter to broadcast it.
Okay,
hard to find so far. There's always something blocked. But yeah, we'll be getting to the transmitter now, so we can do our report. And this report hopefully will start a revolution in the Hillian people. And yeah, we'll get to see our report unfold. All the pictures we've taken, we'll see on the big.
And one of the funniest parts of this entire race segment back is because they're talking about how long they've been inside of these machines, where Double H says he was in there for 16 hours, and Paige says, well, I was in it for 3 weeks. I believe that Double H is in it Double H is in it longer than
Paige.
Than Paige was in it.
Yeah, because we went so fast that
and another funny line about that is because they say that, oh, you fixed the beluga. Yeah, you were in it, Paige. Of course you would know that we fixed the beluga.
Yeah, he kept the beluga even secret from Jade all this time, but it's not much of a reveal if we just hop in it from doing some weird.
All right, another thing that we have coming up here is, like we've mentioned multiple times, Paige's AI and even Double H's AI can freak out a lot. As long as I look at them right there, as long as they're moving, that means that they won't just spaz out and not move. Because I've wasted 2 to 3 minutes alone just on that part.
Yeah, I've had many times where Paige just gets stuck and just waves at you for ages while you're trying to go fast, but he just won't move and won't step onto the platform. So you have to reload the whole area to be set as AI, which is
Alright, so everyone make your predictions on your last code here. This is our last one for the game. One, two, three, four. We got K7Z4.
Not even close.
Alright.
Transmitter alignment. Set target.
Alright, so right here is a very long... It's the longest cutscene in the entire game. You thought that some of those other ones were long, and this is even longer. I'm going to take my headphones off for this, because I get very annoyed with listening to it until it gets closer. So I want everybody to, not just yet, but I want everybody to be ready to do a revolt with the rest of the Hillyans. I'm gonna get mine all set up here. We're gonna do your revolt is gonna be down with the alpha sections.
Yeah, the yellow pair is another thing. Down with the alpha sections, murderers, revolution, that kind of thing. But yeah, Secundo here is hacking the computer, but he seems to be messing up, but actually he's putting his extra touch onto his...
Opening system data.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, it's just Secundo doing this hacking here. I like it a lot. But he makes it a general Secundo.
Yes, sir, General.
I like Secundo. He just appears suddenly at the end of the game. He's just back, which makes kind of sad.
I mean, isn't he earlier on in the game as well? Besides the
yeah. He's in the beginning, but then all the way at the end as well. But that's about it. Like he appears the last in Black Isle, I believe, and then you see him in the end. It's like they forgot about him for a while.
Alright, so in this section, this is obviously the area where we're hacking into the system to tell exactly that the alpha sections are actually the bad guys, and you've been following the bad guys the entire time. So here's the proof that we have about what they're doing with us, and they're gonna show us the picture. They're gonna show the pictures that we've been doing, and the screen is gonna kind of freak out after this. Because we're supposed to have taken pictures also of the slaughterhouse, which we have never actually been to. So here's this first picture that we took of Double H, which you can't really tell. You can a little bit tell about that one.
Yeah, they're very much
got a picture of a wall.
Like found footage of big...
And then these are the slaughterhouse pictures that we never did.
They're drained of all their energy and die.
Yeah, they don't really prove much.
Since the beginning.
Then after that, we have one more picture, and that's a picture of a wall, which definitely shows.
Stop
Get ready, everyone.
That the alpha sections are telling you.
Revolt with the Hillyans.
Down with the alpha sections!
Down with the alpha sections! Revolution!
Alpha sections murderers.
Liars, henchmen, murderers. Woo! Yeah. So it's one of those cutscenes as well. That's great in other languages. This game has some great non-ironic.
If we can get the chat to do that for JDQ, I will be very happy.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
Evacuate the sector.
Nice strategy, soldier, but a bit late. Goodbye.
All right, so right here is our next chase section. Luckily for us, they gave us a ton of time to actually be able to do this. They gave us a minute 30 to do this whole section, and that's more than enough time than you actually need. To be completely honest, I don't know what happens if you screw up this section. And every runner that you talk to, I don't think anybody's ever actually had something happen.
I believe as well with the other timer in the game that if you actually manage to make it run out, that the game just soft locks or something. I don't know. It was very weird. I believe when it happened once, the other times, we got very confused.
So this is about our average time because Paige is always slow here.
And he wants to get in first for some reason. I've seen it before that double H jumps in first though, but it's rare.
Oh really? I've never seen
that. Yeah. Or I must have imagined it. I don't know. Maybe I dreamt it.
Alright, so right now we are going into our next boss fight, which is Alpha Spider. I am not the greatest at this fight, however.
Yeah, so it captures us in this tractor beam, and we can hit it with two different ways. We have either the charge shot or the small shots, and the small shots are quicker for the little red orbs that are closer by to the ship. The ones that are further back, I recommend you use the charge shot for that. You can do it most often like that.
Yeah, if you can explain this while I'm working on it, because you know how bad I am at this.
Yeah, so you just wanna at the center point, just do another charge shot, and then he gets damaged, and goes to the next phase. And then there's more of these red orbs that we want to shoot. Make sure to avoid all the lasers, etc. But we want to be most careful of these. He has these yellow missiles that you can see. If you get hit by these, they do 2 points of damage, and the ship right now only has 2 points of health. So we will just immediately die and have to start the whole fight again. So just make sure to never get hit by those. And after we defeat him, we want to go into the Alpha Spider itself, because the tractor beam, even though he's defeated, is still on the ship. We can't leave, so we've done that. This fight can definitely be tough. I'd say it's one of my favorite fights, but it's still quite tough.
All right. Yeah, that was not a good ending, but whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, dying on the spider is really frustrating.
I only have 1 health here, but that's fine.
Yeah, so there's these mines that normally in the game, they want you to redirect these mines, which you learn in the slaughterhouse that you can do by moving your hovercraft around. But we could just use the beluga to shoot these mines and destroy them. That saves a hell of a bunch. So yeah, again, these Alpha sections, they all have this Achilles heel on their back, which is these backpacks, and we can destroy them quickly by doing these charge shots and then shooting these little orbs, because they are kind of homing and they try to go for the back of the Alpha section.
That was a really good fight.
Nice. Yeah. Now, the Alpha section leader here, General Keck, he explains that the Dom's leader was looking for Jade for the longest time, and that they basically suck dry these people so that they can live longer, or something like that. And then he just dies.
Your days are numbered.
And after this, you're supposed to hit a switch to take off the tractor beam, but the game never hints at it that you have to hit it. But all you have to do is hit X right away when you get out of this, and then you leave. And if you don't do that, you can get all the way back out there and still have the tractor beam and still not leave, which is very annoying.
Yeah. So now we want to leave and get into the beluga so we can save all the people that are still in the cloister, right? After we've now got the whole transport business. But before we can do this, we're gonna be interrupted one more.
Where is the beluga? Way over there? Why is it over there? Oh. Alright, so this section, we have to destroy 15 different ships. I'm gonna try and count it as Voiceless is trying to explain here. I have no heals, which is unfortunate, so I have to be very careful here.
Yeah, so we want to go for this landing strip in the middle, but if we try to do that now, these ships are gonna start destroying us, so we have to destroy 15 of them, because once we destroy 15 of them, the Hillian army will come and help us out and distract all the Alpha Section's cavalry, I suppose, what he calls it. We'd like to find a way to skip this fight, but it's pretty easy. You just have to make sure to lock onto 15 of these guys, shoot once, and then they die. You can also shoot them manually, but it's really hard to get that. They have to fly really close. But what can really mess you up is if you have low health in this section and the shots that they fire.
Oh, I got it. Wow, okay. I thought that was only 14.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, that was really fast.
But those shots can sometimes come out of nowhere and hit you, and then you...
Like this.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, they really wanted me there.
Yeah, so the Hillian people come in and help save us, so we can go to this 3-way elevator, and that will lead us to the final.
Alright, and this final boss here is very fun, in my opinion, until it gets... Well, it's very technical. It can be very technical, but it has fantastic music, so...
yeah, a lot of your skills in this game will be tested.
Enjoy the music, and it's the most heavy storyline that we can basically come on. Everything has led up to basically this ending storyline.
You have finally come back to me. You have served your master well, John. You alone have brought the Hillians to me. They have followed you blindly.
Miss Jade?
I think it's good in this bit if we let the guy...
And General Akbar.
I think it's good if we let the cutscene play out through this bit and the actual run coming up later. Like when the boss starts talking to you, it's good if we let him talk.
Jake, no! Don't listen to him!
What was that?
I think that in the actual run we should let the NPC talk, or the final boss talk, and just kind of...
Oh, yeah.
And then explain the actual how the boss works during the boss fight, right? Because I don't know, I think the dialogue's cool.
Yeah.
And we've been talking through a lot of the dialogue already, so I mean...
But you are not like them. You are mine, John. And I am going to kill the human part of you.
Jade!
Johnny Dom Yandra.
Yeah, so we want to start off with a charge attack to kill all these little Sarcophagus guys. Though in this fight, we seem to have been powered up because you can actually kill these Doms and Sarcophagus in just one simple jab. So at the end, if the charge attack doesn't work out. Afterwards, we want to position double H here to block this laser, or if you're fast enough, immediately shoot the Doms. Instead of getting hit by the laser.
Cool, that was really good.
Now these pages spawn as copies from Rebel, the Doms, please. And we want to shoot these against crystals.
Alright, so this is one of the cooler parts. We actually get to go against the eye that's been torturing us throughout this entire run here. As long as you don't attack the wrong way throughout this entire section right here, you have a split second to do it, but if you wait too long, then he will attack.
And the way to get him to come down from that up position is to press the dodge button. For me, when I was doing a casual run, I couldn't figure that out for the longest time. And if he hits you, if you like mess up your movement there, and he hits you, he'll easily combo you to death all the way, and then you have to do the whole cycle leading up to that bit again. So now here for double H, you want to right before he attacks you with the hammer, release the charge attack and kill all the double H's in one go.
I usually die there.
We have to abandon the fight, Miss Jade.
Alright, so right here, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see everything that I'm gonna be doing. All of my cameras, except for my attack, are reversed.
Yeah, this can really mess with your movement and your everything else at the end of it, because it's at the very end of the game, so you have to get used to completely different controls right here.
Alright, the timing isn't on the last hit. The timing is on the final hit inside of the cutscene. Oh, see, I messed up a little bit there. Ah, crap. That could have, that might have messed up my PB.
Ah, yeah, that. Just,
We have to abandon the fight, Miss Jade.
yeah, so this boss has 2 checkpoints, and it's really unfortunate if you die at the last bit there, because then you have to do this entire scene.
We're suffering, Miss Jade. Abandon.
Actually, if I would have done that, I could have beaten Prisoner's Time. I started freaking out a little bit too much.
Oh yeah, it happens.
Timing right now. So that was Beyond Good and Evil done in under 2 hours, almost under an hour and 50 minutes. Anyway, enjoy the ending music here and the beauty that is the final music and the final scene for this game. I absolutely love it.